Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Wanted to do a video really just to cover off a new system that has landed in the Retroed household, and I got it with me here, albeit it's spending a lot of time in the lounge, on the lounge telly, because it's getting a fair bit of use, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a system that I wanted to play or even try for some time, and it was only when I went to the OLL 22 event at Norwich, so the gaming event, did I try one for the first time, and off the back of that I just knew I needed to get one. So within a few days, yeah, I jumped in on eBay. I was exchanging messages with the very well-informed expert, who's James, Retro and Import Gaming. Awesome channel and awesome guy. He gave me some really good advice, and I'm still pestering him with questions and whatnot. So yeah, as you probably would have gathered from the thumbnail and the title, I've grabbed a PC Engine. So I've gone for the Core Graphics 2 model. It's been slightly modded in terms of the AV setup. It's fairly crystal clear. I basically pump a lead in there and through SCART at the moment on the telly in the front room, but it's really lovely picture. And I can't get over how blooming small this thing is. I don't know if I've got something to kind of bench it against. Probably a bit of a giveaway. Here's one of the games. Basically, there's a CD size box. And as you can see, it's barely bigger than that, and it's super light. Yeah, absolutely mega. Very simple on-off switch, power, AV, the hue cards. Get tucked in there, and absolutely loving it. And you kind of boot it up, and there's no loading. It's kind of instantaneous. It's bang. It's on the screen. So I got that. I got a kind of a pucker cable. I got a controller with it, but I also, I've really got any friends or people to play with in my lounge, because my missus has zilch interest. I got like a second controller. That said, my son will be on it at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, got one of these, which is pretty cool. James sent me through a link for a nice joypad. It's like one of the official, the NEC, whatever it is, the turbo stick. And it's, yeah, really nice bit of kit. When you've got, like same as the normal controller, you've got kind of like auto fire options, and you can actually change the speed of them. Really cool for for shooters and other games. But yeah, loving particularly playing the shooters and a bit of a fighting game, which we'll come on to a sec. This thing really comes into its own. So yeah, loving that. The leads are really bloody short. It's a bit like like the mini consoles for the mini SNES and the mini NES. They're all kind of, the leads are just a bit pathetically short. So again, with a bit of advice from James, it's like, look, just go on bloody eBay, and I think he might have sent me a link to this one as well, the top guy. So yeah, wasn't very much at all, but allows me to properly slouch on my settee sofa and play some games, and just yeah, have a good old time as opposed to being tucked up against the TV screen. But even on the big telly, so we've got, was it a 55-inch bad boy? It just looks lovely and sounds lovely as well. So super cool. Got some games to go through. Can't remember the name of the book, but there's almost like an A to Z of PC Engine games, which maybe if I remember I will put up there. But it's been an absolute godsend. I saw Marcus as well from Dad and Lads Gaming. I think he picked up a copy of the book as well. But it's yeah, really gives some reviews, some hints, what's good, what's crap. But also the front section is fairly heavily devoted to just talking about the history of the console and how it came about, the territories that it was sold in. So mainly kind of Japan, big, a bit in the US. Didn't do so well in Europe. There was a few kind of distributors in France, kind of punting it out, albeit I think at the time they didn't all have the official licenses to do so. But yeah, not much love in the UK as it perhaps should have had, because it is superb. It's, you know, it's an 8-bit CPU with I think a 16-bit GPU, so the graphical processing unit, and a lot of the games I played so far, without bullshitting anyone, you know, you wouldn't be surprised someone's turn around and say, look, it's, you know, it's like a Mega Drive SNES 16-bit kind of equivalent. It plays to that level in my opinion. For some of the games, other games, perhaps the earlier ones on, do look a bit more, you know, reveal the 8-bit nature of the system, but certain other ones are pretty astounding for something particularly of that teeny tiny size. And a bit of fate really, and it wasn't intentional, but when I bought it on eBay, the guy's like, look, I've got one game, it's like card only, and I'm going to try and stick to cases and carts and instructions when I kind of buying other games, but the one he chucked in was the first game that I had and I played on the Master System, and it's Shinobi, which is a bit of fate. Fairly popular game in a few formats, but it's yeah, on the Master System it is one of my favourites. I bloody love that game, and it's not just nostalgia. Genuinely, I think it carries a lot in terms of the graphics, the playability, you know, the enemies. I played the arcade version, and I think it really holds up. Again, for an 8-bit system, it really holds up well. This one, in my opinion, I don't know, I'd sum it up by saying it's good. It's not great. It looks nice. It's a little, almost a bit like juddery when you kind of move around. Doesn't feel even as clean as the Master System one. And the second level with the big helicopter boss battle, I think it misses that completely, because I jumped into the horrible Mandara kind of stage, which I bloody hate that friggin' boss. So bits like that, and also there's the guys that throw I don't know what they are, kind of like boomerang swords, the ugly brutes. And I typically, if it's on like separate layers, you can sneak up behind them and then kind of just do a bit of a melee attack to kind of jab them. But I don't think that exists in here. I think you've just got the shuriken or the throwing stars or the power-ups. But it's just different. Maybe just a bit of, you know, I need a bit of adjustment on this one. But certainly not a bad game. It's a good game. But yeah, the Master System one for me at the moment is leading, shall we say. What should we go through next? So if we pick on, like a Namco game, Final Blast, and you're going to notice a theme here. There's a lot of shooters. I think it's, you know, it's probably a genre that this particular system is well known for. It's very popular Japanese genre, full stop. But yeah, really nice, you know, vertical shooter, pretty cool, like, you know, space setting, heavily reliant on, you know, like power-ups. And I get the impression that as you're working your way through the levels, it's almost like the more power-ups you have, the more you gather, the heavier the waves of the enemies. And if you lose kind of a power-up, it's probably fairly commonplace in most shmups, but once you lose a power-up and you kind of start it again, it's bloody hard. It really is, particularly if you're kind of just approaching a boss level. And it does seem to push. I haven't played these, I haven't done it too long, because I haven't played these games certainly for hours and hours. Nothing, you know, a few hours into each. But it does feel like it pushes you back a fair bit in the stage. But again, another common trend, the music, the soundtrack on these games is just, yeah, fantastic. Really, really good. So that was your Final Blaster. Got this one again in a few flavours, but parodious. And obviously with this one, it's kind of Konami classic. It steals a lot of the, it borrows a lot of the kind of characters, good and bad, in terms of the enemies from other Konami titles, which is pretty awesome. So you've got you've got the ship from Gradius. I think you've got Twin Bee as well, and the bosses are just kind of comical, obviously fairly well known. Kind of the dancing belly lady, where you got to kind of scoop between her legs as she lifts them, and I remember the first time playing it, I can't remember what version it was on, but trying to take her out, and you soon realise, well, that's impossible. You've just got to work your way through and make sure you don't get like stomped on. But yeah, I think it holds up pretty well. It looks, you know, it looks very, you know, arcadey in nature. Certainly nothing, I wouldn't say nothing that's kind of missing in terms of, you know, the ingredients. It kind of packs, you know, a bit of an arcadey punch. So yeah, absolutely loving it. Some of the cases are a bit more kind of the practical, boring side of me, but with those you can see, I mean, they come in like a plastic pouch, and then the plastic pouch then kind of it gets attached to there, so it doesn't like fall out. Some have it, some don't. A few have a bit of almost like a thin sponge, which obviously stops it from moving around when it's in place, and then equally stops it from bashing against the manual. But yeah, wherever possible, I've been trying to go complete, even if it means, you know, some games, like all bloody systems, you know, more expensive than others. So if it means certain titles I want and I need to wait and save whatever, I'd rather do that than just jump in and say get a loose Who card thing, or it's fairly unlikely you'd be missing a manual because it's part of the front, the inlay. So yeah, Parodius. This one was a bit of a shame, to be honest. As I was expecting great things. It is my favourite game, but not on the PC Engine, unfortunately. So yeah, Chase HQ, and it looks stunning. It looks really, really good. Couldn't fault it in terms of graphics. Even a bit of, you know, you got the speech, Japanese speech. You got Nancy and Chase HQ at the beginning, but it almost as if it plays just too quick, even with the, you know, the finest reactions in the world. There's so much shit, there's so much traffic going on in the road. I mean, all versions of this are fairly, you know, they're choppy and turny, but if you hit something, then that inertia of the collision just takes you straight off, and inevitably there's a bloody sign or a tree or something to go against. So that kind of slows you down, and then obviously the enemy gets further away. So yeah, and I like to think, I mean, I'm no bloody expert on any games, but Chase HQ is probably the game the series I played the most, and I struggle with this. It hasn't got many levels, like 4 or 5 levels, I think, but really struggle with this particular version. But yeah, it looks good. So bit of a shame, but yeah, perhaps I need to practice a bit harder. Maybe I'll then get a bit better. This one surprised the heck out of me, but in an absolutely awesome way. And I never would have thought it would have been on an 8-bit system and played as well. But yeah, Street Fighter 2. It's kind of like a double pack, should say. It's like Champion edition. You have actually got the instructions do come separately. So there's a book there, all the bits. You got all the kind of the gubbins, which is rather nice. As Champion 2D, Rob would say, looks a bit of a spine card. And then you've got the game at the back. I don't know if it's maybe it's packing a bit more memory, but it seems, maybe it's just the plate at the front. It just seems a bit thicker than the others, like noticeably so. I don't pick up on stuff like this because I'm blind as a bat and not particularly perceptive, but with the thickness of the Hue card, Street Fighter 2, excuse the pun, but it's carrying a punch, that's for sure. But it's got all the titles, also all the characters, you know, all the moves, the background animations that I've checked out. You know, again, they look fairly, I know in a few home console versions they do take them out, or they're obviously not as full on as the arcade, but there's still a lot going on with this one. You've got obviously a bit of the speech, the sound effects, the music is good. The only crappy thing for me at the moment is I'm working off a joypad and control stick with 2 buttons. I need a bit of a 6-button bad boy, because unless there's something within the settings which I'm missing, you can either kind of, you do like a light or heavy punch, or you do a light or heavy kick, but you can't have a kick and a punch on both those buttons. And what you do is you have to hit select to toggle between the two. So you might want to you jump into a character if you're in kick, press select to get it to punch, to do your dragon punch. It's I love Street Fighter, and again, I'm no bloody expert, but I think I'm fairly good at it. But that introduces a bit of an unhealthy challenge. It's very, very tricky. But I've managed to get quite far, but I think with 6 buttons, a bit more of a better kind of stick. I think I probably enjoy that game, far, far more. But yeah, for an 8-bit console, it's just like, it's absolutely friggin' amazing. And it's such a cliche thing to say, but yeah, I love the Japanese box art and the graphics and the style, and because I do, it just looks wicked. This was the game that I played when I was at the event, which basically said, look, you need to go out and get a bloody PC engine. It's R-Type. And really, really, yeah, again, it's very aligned with the arcade. This game has got to be, can't be far off like 30, it must be over 30 years old, 30, 35 years old. But in my opinion, it really holds up so well. I know I'm using the Master System as a bit of a bench here because it's a system I'm really familiar with, and that version's amazing. I say this is as good, if not, a bit better. But it seems to have all the all the bosses, all the power ups. Just looks beautiful. A really, really good game. Absolutely loving it. And I don't know if it's any, maybe if you do know, whack it in the comments. R-Type Part 2, R-Type 2, is it good, is it crap? Is it worth getting? It seems to be around the similar price to R-Type, so not crazy money. Maybe I should consult my my book as well, but yeah, if anyone's got any views on that, then if it is good, then I'll add it to the scarily expanding list. Next up, so yeah, talking of Sega and Master Systems, a game which I know very well from there, like Space Harrier. Again, this one does look really, really nice. Couldn't really fault it versus the Master System. I think the only thing I would say, I've just never really got on with the game full stop. There's no kind of power-ups. You're just kind of whizzing around the screen, or I do in a bit of just a random fashion, just to try and avoid all the trees and the enemies and all the other gubbins that seems to get chucked at you. So I think as a game, it's just not my, it's not really my my thing. The thing which I do love about it, I'm even just looking at the credits, and Nazo Ken, I don't know if he was the guy that did the soundtrack, but I honestly think this is my favourite. This game has my favourite soundtrack out of all any video games. I just think it's a bloody really cheesy, but a beautiful friggin' arrangement. And that song, albeit will get stuck in my head and excuse me, get stuck in my head, and I can't bloody get it all emotional, and I can't get it out. It's just amazing. What a bloody tune. But yeah, quite. Again, you got the thing on the card, so it does trump the Master System, where you got nice visual. Where the Master System was obviously from the cartridge was just the name on the red kind of background. I mean, nostalgic in itself, and we probably couldn't. If it was any different, we wouldn't. I don't know. We wouldn't be loving it. But yeah, it's just nice on these to get the full image. A bit like my cheesy obsession for the Game Boy, where you've got those the Game Boy stickers on there. I just love those. Love those little things. So this one, we've got a couple more. So let's go with this one. So I think this is it Kyokyo? I'm going to pronounce completely muller it. Tiger. So like a Taito game. It is a sequel to, is it Tiger Heli? Which game I think I played. It's fairly well-known shmup, but I can't remember too much about it. But this one is, this is awesome. It's got obviously a bit of a war theme, a bit of a bullet hell thing, on the go. The music is, again, talking about great music. It's very addictive. It just feels like one long bit of kind of keyboard solo from start to finish. Again, you can get a bit scuppered if you lose some of your power ups. It doesn't always go in your favour. But yeah, really cool game. Again, one slight disappointment with a lot of these is I'm probably just saving on on costs, but there's no, you know, you haven't got like the graphics on these screenshots on the back. Typically it's just a black reverse with the sticker and the barcode. That's me just being a bit pernickety, very pernickety. And the last one I've got is really like, it's really bloody bittersweet. It's a game I knew I wanted to get. It's a game I really enjoy. Another Sega title, and it came through. It was, you know, it's not the cheapest of titles, but it's not like crazy money. This one was, you know, a fair bit. I'm trying to think how much it was. It's about 50-60 quid. So it wasn't, you know, certainly not cheap. It turns up, and I look at it and I think, I'm sure this is like sealed. So I go back to the guy on eBay, and it's basically an eBay shop thing. He's been around a while, and he's a really good guy. I bought loads of stuff from him before. And he goes, yeah, I hadn't realised myself, and I packaged it up, and when I sent it out, I thought, oh, it is. So I think the guy's probably lost a little bit of money, but for me it's a bit crappy, because to be honest, I just want to play the bloody game. Let's stop rambling. It's Outrun. And obviously with the more modern games, you normally got a little, you know, either Sega or a Nintendo thing, and you can see that it's, you know, I know people can fake stuff, but you can see whether or not it's been officially sealed or not. But this one, obviously, it kind of predates any of that anti-piracy stuff. But you can tell it's just, yeah, it doesn't look like anything that's you kind of custom or redone. It's very, very kind of snug. So I'm now, me being a bit of a knob, I'm not going to bloody open it. I'm probably not going to sell it. So it's, you know, it's a bit crazy really, because probably worth more than what I paid for it. I'm not going to sell it on. I'm not going to pay for it. So it's going to have to look nice on the shelf. And then at some point I'm going to have to, you know, probably find another bloody version of the game. Maybe I do. That's the exception, and I just get the standalone card. Who knows? So yeah, Outrun, and it does. On the YouTube vids I've seen and from my Googling, it looks friggin' amazing. So, hey ho. C'est la vie. And that is it. So I really have kind of jumped on getting a few games. I got a bit carried away, as I do on eBay. Haven't ordered. There's one thing I've ordered which should be coming through shortly, which I'll talk to, but it's kind of semi-game related to this stuff, but no other games for the time being. I need to enjoy these. I need to play a gazillion other games I've got that I just haven't got around to. But yeah, I'll keep you informed on my PC Engine journey. But loving the console. If you've got any, recommendations would be awesome to start with. If you've got any views on the console, the games, you know, games to get stuck into, games to avoid, ideally games that aren't like crazy money, then please chuck them in the comments. That would be massively appreciated. But yeah, so far, certainly a little console I'd recommend, and they're not all, you know, Outrun kind of prices. Obviously, some of the shooters are a bit pricier, but some of the other titles between 10 and 20 quid. Back to that eBay rule. If you see someone selling something and it's got they're going to consider an offer, then always chuck them an offer. Otherwise, what's the point of them putting it on there? So most of the time they'll come back. And also I found if you just save something in your watch list, whatever it's bloody called on eBay, again that can draw in a few. You know, it might not be instantaneous. It might take a few days or a week or so, but quite often you'll get, you know, the seller's offered you a 10-15% discount, and off the back of that you go in and say thank you, but no thank you, I don't want 15, I want 20 or whatever. But then you're in that kind of negotiating battle, and you walk away with hopefully with something at a good price. But maybe that's a video for another day. Right, big love to you all. Cheers for watching. Cheers for supporting the channel. I've gone over just over like 400 now, which is just a bit bloody mind-blowing. But yeah, thank you for all the support. New and old subscribers alike, you're all awesome. Yeah, cheers for the comments. Have a great bank holes. I think I'll be putting this video out around the bank holes, otherwise that point will make no sense at all. And I'll catch you on the next one. All the best, guys. Cheers.